Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
Well, I'm very grateful that you took the time to tune in to today's episode of the Kim Jacobs Show. Listen, we have a great show lined up for you. I'm your host, Kim Jacobs, better known as the Balance Doctor. And all of our guests that come on, they're either people that have overcome some tremendous odds in their own lives as they balance this thing called life, or they're experts and they're here to share tips and strategies that will help you better balance and manage your life. Grab your virtual seats and let's get ready for some real, relevant, and relatable content on today's episode of the Kim Jacobs Show. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of the Kim Jacobs Show. I'm so glad that you all are here today and in your virtual seats. Listen, we have a great show lined up for you today. We're going to be talking. I was going to be talking with someone else, but since that didn't work out today, guess what? I'm not going to disappoint my virtual studio audience. We're going to have a great experience and have a wonderful discussion today about balancing our time. So I want you all to take notes and let's just talk about how we're going to balance our time today. And whenever I talk to you, I'm actually talking to you from one of my own books that I think would be helpful to each and every one of you, which is Extreme Balance Makeover. So if you don't have your copy of Extreme Balance Makeover, you can go over to kimjacobsshow.com. It's a Shopify store there. You'll get a chance to purchase Extreme Balance Makeover. And what I will do is autograph it for you and send it out to you right away. So I'm excited about our time together. If you have any questions about balancing your time and how do you go about doing that and what works most effectively for you, please share those tips. Share the best practices right in the comment section, and I'll pop those in for you throughout today's discussion. All right. So how do you go about balancing this thing called time in life, and how do you get a handle on it when it's easy to just say, you know what? I've just let everything go to shot, basically, because there's like too many things that I'm responsible for doing, so many expectations, and it's no human way technically possible for all of this to so-called come together, right? Well, I actually beg to differ with you. I believe that if we can just determine how we're going to put things in their proper priority and literally decide that this is where this goes, this is where this bucket goes, this is how I'm going to handle this area and manage it, it can be done. Does anybody in the virtual studio audience agree with what I'm saying? Do you feel like you can really manage your time? Or do you feel like, no, I just do whatever I do when I wake up, I just get whatever I get done, and just almost like just throwing paint on the wall and letting any old thing happen? I'd love to hear your feedback on that. So let me know your thoughts. I'm going to be definitely looking in the studio audience for your comments throughout the discussion. Share the broadcast with people too, and let me know your thoughts on it. Let's see. Yeah, I see you. I see you, Sheila. How are you? So glad to have you in the studio audience. Share your thoughts on how you balance your time. How do you manage your time? Because I'd love to hear some feedback from you. But I think that it can be done, and I'm big on putting things in their proper perspective because everything can't be a priority. It's not possible because it's like you have to kind of force rank some things. And that's why I share the philosophy that what do I have to get done? This is a must do. No matter what happens today, I have to get this particular thing accomplished. So if you already know that, then why let that be something that goes all day long and you don't accomplish it? These are real questions. I'm asking not a rhetorical question. I'm literally asking you guys a question. Why, if we know that something is the top priority and that you can't let that day come to an end without that thing, fill in the blank, because we all have different things. So that thing becoming the thing that has to be done that day. Why not let that be the focal point whenever you get up and you're ready to get going with the new day and you're ready to take the day on by storm? Why not let that be the thing that you will formally get done? So let's just start there for a minute. What we're going to do is we're going to take a commercial break. Yes, today's topic is how to balance your time. And I want to make sure that as we have this discussion today, that you all invite your friends into the discussion and we just talk about it. And Cynthia, I see you coming on as well. And I know you're going to have some happy thoughts because you are the happy queen of teaching people vintage age 60 plus how they can have a happier outcome in their lives. So today we're talking about how to balance your time. All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break and we'll be right back to talk more about our topic. We'll be right back.
My father had 4 of his fingers amputated in a workplace accident. It was the first injured individual I represented, and I knew I had to win that case. When someone walks into my office and they've been injured, I know what they're going through. If you've been injured at work, work with Hunter and Everett. We've got the experience, so let us help you.
All right, everyone, we're back and we're talking today about how to balance your time. And I have tips that I'll share with you throughout the broadcast, but I'd love to hear any of your thoughts on how you personally balance your time. Take time for you. I love that, Mackenzie. Thank you so much for chiming in. Yes, taking that time for you is so important because I believe that you cannot serve other people whenever you're not able to even be in a full state of existence and being for yourself. So if you're not at your peak level of performance or peak level of energy or peak level of being able to even take more in because you have enough capacity to even take on more, then you're not going to be able to serve anybody else. And everyone knows that we hear about the airplane philosophy, which you can't help anybody else if you're passed out. So if you're in pass out mode, then the other person is just straight on their own. It's not humanly possible for you to help them if you're over there passed out. Because then they're on their own. But I recommend that you always take care of yourself, whether it's getting a massage, whether it's, and now we don't all get to always go and just say, hey, come on, let me get a $50, $70, $100 massage. I understand. But there are times that you can take just a mental break, and that costs you not $1 for you to just say, you know what, I'm just going to sit here in total silence. I'm just going to sit here for a moment and I'm just going to be. I'm going to exist. I'm not going to do anything, nothing. I'm just going to relax. Just relax. And I don't have the bird chirping music over here. Just thinking. I'm just here. I'm not in any on mode. I'm not in on mode for anybody else. I'm not thinking about anybody else. All I'm doing is just existing. Breathing. Being. You're not doing anything, just existing. And sometimes, believe it or not, that can make a world of difference in just the anxiety level that you experience, the tension in your shoulders. Just some proper deep breathing can make the best difference in your life. And that's why I need Sharon D. Brown on right now, because she's a self-care expert. And if Sharon here, let me put this link in here in case you decide, if you're seeing this, you want to pop on, you come right on and share any self-care tips that you choose. And anybody that wants to come on and share your best practices, feel free to just copy and paste that link and it'll bring you right into today's discussion. Okay. But just existing and being, it gives you the opportunity to have a refreshed outlook and the capacity to be able to help someone else out just a little bit more. You have almost like you have a little bit more mental bandwidth. If you know, from a computer perspective and spacing perspective on the computer, you have more bandwidth to take on what someone else, if you're about to walk in the house and you're getting ready to deal with the child, or you're getting ready to deal with cooking, or hearing your spouse's day and some information that they may be sharing, you just want to be refreshed and able to take on what's about to happen. Okay. All right. So these are just some things that I know. And thank you for saying, take that time for you, Mackenzie. That was a really good spinoff in the conversation. Let's talk about, and I'm talking right from my book. And again, it's from the book, Extreme Balance Makeover, which gives you better solutions, better focus, and a better life, hopefully. Okay. Now, these tips are tips that I actually did when I was on NBC with a show that was called the Charlotte Today Show, back in the day when I was much younger. And I had the opportunity to share tips each week on how people balance different aspects of their lives. And so these are tips that I shared during those episodes, and I compiled them into a resource guide for you to be able to have and look back on. So these are weekly tips that I shared, and then I actually compiled them into a resource book for you. So let's go through some of those. The first one that I said, first of all, time management techniques. Let me put my glasses. They help you prioritize what is deserving of your time, and what is not. That is critically important. Everything that does not deserve your time. You cannot be, but you're not going to be able to be all things to all people. You're not going to be able to be everything to everybody at one time. And even the things that must get done have to be effectively planned, or some of the important items will also slip through the cracks. If you don't write stuff down, I'm telling you, I know for me, whatever I don't write down, it does not happen. It does not get done. So writing stuff down is critically important for me on one master calendar situation. Other than that, if I have one calendar here, another calendar there, it just doesn't, it's like, okay, that's too many different calendars. So it doesn't get done. But the goal is to be effective and efficient at the same time without being overwhelmed. You don't want to be totally overwhelmed in every situation, okay? You want to ensure that you're focusing your energy and efforts on things that get done daily without wasting your precious time. So these are some of the tips that I'll be sharing with you today throughout this discussion. Let's see. Cynthia Lennox said, make your personal time as sacred, and we must teach everyone to respect it. Teaching everyone to respect your personal space and respect your personal time is very important. My husband needed to help with the copy machine this morning. It wasn't urgent. I told him I'll check it out when I return from my walk. So she actually put her walk as the priority. And guess what? He respected that time. So that's a great example, Cynthia. Thank you so much for sharing that and taking the time to type that much too. I really appreciate it. All right. All right. Great example. Any other examples or anything that people are commenting on? You can pop it on now, Mackenzie. Any comments? Any other comments? Okay, let's see. I love that comment. Take time for you. I see you, Sheila, too, with purple hearts. I see all of your comments and taking time for you. All right. So let's go ahead and get started. What we'll do is right after this commercial break, we're going to come right back and I'm going to share some specific tips with you on how to balance your time. We'll be right back right after this commercial break. All right, everyone, we're back, and I want to take a moment to acknowledge our episode sponsors, Attorney Charles Everidge with Hunter Everidge Law Firm. If you are dealing with disability, or you're dealing with a workers' compensation claim, or even the wrongful death of a loved one, make sure you reach out to them and let them know that the Kim Jacobs Show sent you their way. Their phone number is 704-457-5000. Again, 704-457-5000. And also the coffee commercial that you just saw, a lot of people love the coffee. I don't know what's going on with that black coffee and the mushroom infused coffee, but definitely go to vproducts.store, vproducts.store, and again, let them know the Kim Jacobs Show sent you their way. So let's deep dive into some of these tips. Oh, you know what? I want to make sure I let you guys know that we're starting a group training that's happening with those that are interested in starting your own show from scratch. Many of you may be interested in having just a deeper relationship with your clients that already follow you and they love you. You may go live already on Facebook or different platforms. Well, in this training, what I'll do is I will spend 6 weeks with you in a small group setting, and it is going to be it's a great dynamic when you're working in this group setting, because other executives, coaches, business entrepreneurs, they're giving you their feedback too. They're like, oh girl, no, don't do that. Yes, oh yeah, I love that. And so they're giving you their feedback in that small group setting, and you get the opportunity to create your own show from scratch. I help you with that from as many angles as possible. We identify what the focus is going to be. I help you make sure you have your guests lined up as how the process works. I'll make sure that you also understand specifically how to go about involving sponsors and monetization and all kinds of things, your equipment, you name it. We cover a lot of it in the 6-week course. And I'm there live training you in that process with a small group of individuals. So make sure you know that you can reach out to me. You can reach out to me because we have a class starting and people are already registering. And so you can go ahead and reach out to me at 704-944-3534, 704-944-3534, or you can email me, kim@thebalancedoctor.tv, or you can also inbox me. And I look forward to working with you and helping you create your virtual show from scratch. All right. All right. So, point number 1 that we're going to talk about today when it comes to balancing your time. You want to make sure, let's see, Mackenzie backstage, I think you're going to help me with this, but be willing, determine, oh, first, yeah, this is important. Yeah, let's go down to where it says determine where you waste your time. That's what I want. That's where I want to start. I actually don't think we even typed that one. But determine where you currently waste your time. If you don't know where you're wasting, thank you, Mackenzie. Mackenzie is so helpful backstage. Thank you so much. It's so good to be able to have a person helping you backstage, and that's a blessing. Yeah, you don't want to take anything for granted when someone is being kind enough to help you, and I really appreciate it. She's a new mom back there with a new daughter, and she also has a toddler son. So for her to be doing this and helping me, I really appreciate it. Thank you, Mackenzie. Happy holidays to you in advance. And then I also have Cassandra, who helps, and she does a lot of the behind the scenes stuff. And she's a mom of, she's actually a grandma. And this woman is a pastor's wife and has her own young children too, still minors. So you name it, she's doing it. She's in law school and she is still infusing, helping the Kim Jacobs Show in her journey in life. So this is just amazing, in my opinion, that God would bless me with this help. So first, let's determine, where do we even waste time? We have to assess the current situation. Where am I spending my time? Am I actually chit-chatting on the phone all the time? Am I watching every show that comes out and I'm watching it in real time? Because that's important. You might have to possibly DVR or whatever you call it, but you may have to say, I'm going to watch this at a later time because right now I have to do this. And so you have to be creative with where you're spending your time currently. Uh, you have to also determine if wherever you're currently spending your time, what can you do to minimize that a little bit so that you can have some more freed up time to do more of what has to be accomplished that you know you must get done that particular day. So determine where you waste your time. Point number 2 is be willing to change your behavior. Once we identify where we see the problem is, then what are we going to do to start fixing the problem? It's nothing worse than, well, I know this is the issue, but nothing changes. That's called what? Somebody type it in the comment section. What is that called when you do the same thing over and over and over and over again, but you expect a different outcome? The answer is it's called insanity. So we do not want to do the same thing over and over and over and over and over. And at the end of the day, we think it's going to be a different result, but it's not, because we're doing the same thing. So unless we change the behavior itself, then it's not going to be any different. So I encourage you to be willing to change the behavior and discipline ourselves and say, this is going to be something that I force myself to do differently. When I wake up, I'm going to look at what I have to do for that day. Outside of, for me, I wake up, I give my Lord and Savior all honor and praise, because first of all, it could be, he didn't have to allow any of the things that's happened in my life to even happen. That's a blessing for my life. And even the things that look like they're downtrodden and down and out, I do believe wholeheartedly that the Lord knows what's in my best interest at all times in all situations. So yes, some things are devastating to me in my life, and I can't act like they're not, because they are. And so I would be lying if I didn't say some things just literally broke the core of my inner man. It hurt. But at the end of the day, I do know that God is ultimately in control, and it's stuff that I don't always know. I only know in part, but he sees the full picture, and that's for all of us. So anyway, change the behavior that we see as a problem when it comes to how we're managing our time. The next thing that I want you to do is write down and prioritize your list. When I say this, I'm saying everything should be written down. And anybody in the comments section over in the studio audience, share your thoughts. Please, do you believe that you should write everything down, or do you think, you know what? I got it. I often hear people say, "Oh, I got it. I got it." And having it, what does that look like if it's not written down? Because at the end of the day, you don't have a way to be able to manage what it is that you're saying you're going to do. If this is something that you're saying, I have to get this accomplished, then where are you visualizing it to know that it has to happen? Because you don't have any reference point if you just have it in your head. And anything we just keep in our head is going to get possibly diluted, is going to get lost in the shuffle and the bustle of other emergencies and things popping up that we weren't expecting. And that's another thing I want to make sure I share with you, that even in writing things down, because I do write things down a lot, the thing is, it's like, how do I explain it? Even in writing things down, there are other things that come up. That means that I have to be flexible. So I officially have to say, Kim, no matter what you wrote on that paper or what you put in your calendars, in your actual phone system, at the end of the day, I still have to have some level of flexibility, because guess what? Things still come up that I never expected. Is some type of random situation that needs my immediate attention or will need your attention, or it can be something that is an emergency and you couldn't have predicted that, because at the end of the day, you didn't know it was going to happen. So you have to have some level of flexibility when it comes to prioritizing your list. But what I do is I actually say these are the top 3 things that no matter what happens, I have to get those 3 things done today before the close of day. Before the close of the night, these 3 things must get done. So I force rank them as the top of my priority list because they are pretty urgent. Then I decide this is what I'm going to do, this is what I'm going to do, and this is what I'm going to do. But again, God's will trumps all of that. So, Lord, what is it that you ultimately want me to do today that must get done, that represents you and your vision for my life? Now, that takes priority over everything that I put into my own plan. How does that fit into your plan in life? How do you prioritize and maximize your day, but also have some flexibility in the day to know that what God really has planned for you, you may not even know it yet? Just a thought. But I'd like to hear some of your answers too. Let's see. And I can't see all the comments, so pop them up if any of them come in, and I'll address them as well. Let's see. I write some to-do things down, but I am adaptable to spontaneity and even social events. I make myself available to my friends. I'm glad you said that, Cynthia. Yeah, making yourself available to your friends is wonderful because you're in the moment. You're able to be there the way they need you to be there. And that's what I do with I only have a limited amount of friends, but when my friends need me, I am there for them. And they're there for me. So it's not like when I call and I need to talk to Sean, for example, she is front and center, all ears, listening and giving me her undivided attention. And the same on the flip. And that's friends that I've even had for many, many years since I was a child. I've had friends that are my friends. And if they need me, I'm going to do everything I can to be there for them. Because we only have limited friends in life. So I'm glad that you made that point. I'm grateful that you made that point, Cynthia. So being there for your friends, but being there the way they need you to be there. Because sometimes when we're there for our friends are like, I don't need you. I don't need you to talk right now. I just need you to hear me and let me cry, let me vent, let me be who I need to be in this moment. And I don't need any advice or tips or anything. All I just need is a friend, a listening ear. And that happens, I know, with me and my friends for sure. I'm like, I don't need to be in any kind of on mode. I just need to tell you the raw situation here, and you got to help a sister out. Okay, help me out, because I need prayer in this regard, and I need some good advice, great advice. So you need to have those kind of friends. How are you balancing the holidays? Yes, that's a great question as well. Balancing the holidays, I think balancing the holidays is interesting because you're dealing with people, and people are visiting and coming by and all of those kinds of things. So you want to have an idea of how you're going to manage that process as far as when they may arrive, when they're going to leave. Not that you're eager for them to leave or anything, but you want to know what the plan is, and getting a handle on that in advance makes a difference, in my opinion. And then just also being able to prepare for your guests by making sure your home is appropriate and inviting, and that people are getting a good experience, and being able to come and visit with you, making sure if they have allergies or things like that, you don't want to provide stuff in the home that is stuff that they can't even eat, and the whole week they're there and they can't even experience a great experience because you didn't check with them in advance to know what they could or couldn't even have. So I think that's fun. And For me, I enjoy always infusing your loved one into the mix of how you still incorporate them into how things are celebrated during the holidays, because just because they're not here on this earth does not mean that they should not be still included in some regard or celebrated their life in some regard. So those are just a few things for me in the holidays, just unplugging, unwinding, taking a break, a real break away from a lot of things, and just replenishing and refreshing as I prepare for the new year. So, and any of you all, how are you all spending time for your holidays? What are you going to be doing? What's going to be your thing that you do? All right. All right, that's a great question. Any other comments or questions? All right, let's go to another point. Do something while you wait. You know what I mean by that? Sometimes we're waiting in like a doctor's appointment, or we're at the line of, for me, Chick-fil-A or any other places, but you may be just sitting in line. You may be sitting just waiting for something that's getting ready to happen. I know when I take my children to doctor's appointments, I'm sitting there for maybe 30, 40 minutes, maybe a couple of hours, depending upon what the testing is that they have going on. And so while I'm waiting, I can clean out a purse. I can do you name it. I can do it. I get a lot done. I'm very efficient when it comes to doing something while I wait. So let me see some of the things that I put here. Like while you're taking your child to like an extracurricular activity, a football game or a basketball game or practice for dance or jousting or whatever it is that you have your children involved in. While you wait, you could be doing something like you can take a notebook to write down some of your to-dos for the upcoming day, the next day. You can read some of your documents. I always carry like some pretty important things that maybe I haven't had a chance to read through thoroughly. And what I'll do is I'll read through some of those while I'm waiting at the practice for one of my children to get done. And I catch up on my paperwork and stuff like that. You can organize your bills, and you can also, you can just get a lot of things done just that need your attention. But because you have some other important things happening that's also on your to-do list or must-do list or carryover list or whatever you want to call it, but you can use that time wisely and not just sit there and do nothing but talking on the phone only. Maybe talk on the phone to a friend for a little bit. Then also maximize that time by taking your stack of bills and going through them, writing what your goals or your plans are. You can even write some of your goals and your dreams down as well and say, this is the overarching goal. This is what I want to accomplish in my life. And then I do like a reverse engineering kind of situation. What are the strategies that I have to implement in order to get that overarching goal to happen? What is going to be the big picture goal? What are the strategies I actually have to implement in order for that goal to happen? And then what are the day-to-day tasks, the things that I must do in order for that ultimate goal to become the reality? So it's like a whole step-by-step process that I use when it comes to balancing my time, when it comes to that theory on how to balance it and really make it become a reality. Another thing that I personally do is if you just get a blank sheet of paper and draw, and I'll show you a visual. I'm going to get this to show you, because this is probably important for you to see. What we'll do is we'll take a commercial break. I'll come right back and I'll have this whole thing drawn out for you so you can have a visual. We'll be right back. Okay? Go ahead, take a break. All right, you can go to commercial if you can. All right, let me take this.
Why learn about health when you can experience it? Experience it in beautiful Florida in February 2024. Join us for 3 days of integrative and intensive health and healing education and empowerment with the expertise of the following Healthopedia author, speaker, and facilitators. The world-renowned homeopath and acupuncture physician, Dr. James Marinakis, 4-decade health coach and holistic nutritionist, Dr. Joe D. Bear, and others such as Kimberly Meredith, Dame Doria Cordova, Rex Sykes, Dr. Gary Sanchez, Jamie Kerr, Serena Brown Travis, and more. Experience daily morning walking and yoga, interactive participation, panel discussions, and more for your own epiphany of health. Get your tickets now.
All right, everybody, we're back here on the Kim Jacobs Show. We're talking today about how to balance your time, how to balance your time effectively. Now, there are all different schools of thought. And of course, mine consists of, before I was just doing tips until I realized that at the end of the day, no matter what I was planning, what I was strategizing on, ultimately, God is the head of my life in every aspect of my life. So things change daily when it comes to what I personally can and cannot do. Because at the end of the day, he's the author and the finisher of my faith. So I'm only going to be what he is, almost like a puppet orchestrating me to do. He still gives me a mind and he gives me free will and the ability to make some decisions and choices that he's trusted me with. That's why I am a willing vessel being used by him. So at the end of the day, I know that he's already equipped me with everything that I need on the inside of me to be able to walk this thing out called life. Okay. All right. So I did this little drawing, right? Because all of us we only have 100%. You can't give 100. People say 110 and all. You cannot get no 110. No, you can give 100%, 100%. And then, so you got to divide something up some kind of way. So what I recommend is that you have like almost like a pie chart theory where you say what percentage you can spend in each area of those pie chart blanks. So if you know, for example, I know I'm going to spend time with Gabe's Heart Foundation. Every day that I have this pen on, I'm going to do some kind of act of kindness, period. I don't have to know the person. I don't care if I know the person. If I'm walking around with my son's button on or his t-shirt or anything, I'm going to do something that is an act of kindness automatically. So what percentage am I going to spend on Gabe's heart? What percentage am I going to spend where I have to have some time with my children and date time and family meeting times and times that I know that we have to sit down and talk and eat and fellowship and cheer each other on, inspirational moments that we have together. I have to account for that because that's still some of my time, right? What am I going to do when it comes to spending time with my friends and spending time with my mom and my family and my mother-in-law? We go to different things that we do together. If I know these things, these are still things that take your time that you have to account for it some kind of way. So just do that exercise for yourself. eWomen Network and all of these different hats and roles and responsibilities, Mother Dreamers, the being the balanced doctor that I am, I'm balancing a lot of different roles and responsibilities, ministry, and I am definitely heavily involved in ministry. I love God. I love God's people. I love God's leaders that he's placed in my life. And in fact, I love it. I love God's people. And to me, all of you all are God's people because I'm not in control of whose God's people are. I just love people. And whoever he assigns me to, I want to be involved. So doing that exercise, I think, will also help you. Let's see. What's some other tips on balance? Right now, we've went over determine where you waste your time, because I want to make sure I go and let you know what we've said so far. Determine where you waste your time. That's assessing the situation and being real with yourself and saying, girl, you know what? If you just take about 10 minutes off of these phone calls, if you just take about 1 hour out of the 3 hours that you watch in some shows and stuff, And then that's another freed up hour. You can assess what's going on with your own situation. Be willing to change the behavior we talked about. And hopefully you all are taking notes on this and sharing it with your friends. Be willing to change that behavior. Then we talked about write down and prioritize your list. Now I'm getting this right from the book that I actually wrote, which is Extreme Balance Makeover. And you can get that book right on kimjacobshow.com. I'll autograph it and send it to you. Tips from when I was on NBC and sharing the weekly tips. All right. Do something while you wait. We talked about that. What can you do while you're waiting for your children to get out of extracurricular activities, or you're just waiting at a thing that's taking you maybe an extra hour and you're like just sitting there? And instead of just only talking on the phone, you may take 30 minutes to talk to a girlfriend. Girl, let's chop it up. And then 30 minutes to look through your bills. Being creative, guys, okay? Then we talked about, this is a good one. Doing something daily towards your goal. So do something while you wait, then doing something daily towards your goal. Make sure you do something every day. And that's when I talked about the reverse engineering. What is your overarching goal? And then how do you strategize? But then what day-to-day things do you have to put into effect in order for it to become a reality? And I'm reading a book called The Slight Edge right now by Jeff Olson. And again, no endorsement or anything, but the thing is, here's the thing. If we can just get 1% better is what the book is talking about. Just get 1% better than you did yesterday. It doesn't have to be these big leaps and bounds. If you can get just a little teeny bit better than what you did the day before, it can make a tremendous difference in the outcome of what you accomplish towards your goals. It's really a simple thing. Every day, do something, baby steps towards your goal, and those baby steps start adding up. Anybody relate to what I'm saying in the studio audience? Are you feeling me? Are you understanding what I'm saying? Is this like connecting with you in any way, shape, or form? Put it in the comment section. Do something just a slight bit different or towards going in a direction of your goal and your dream, and you'll see some significant outcomes. Let's see. The other one is, this is a good one. Mastering your emails. If you're like me, I keep everything, right? But I do it and I categorize it on purpose because if I ever need it, then I have it. But looking at your emails and identifying how you're going to go ahead and respond to it. Is this something you can go ahead and delete? My mom taught me this. She's like, girl, all that spam and all that. My mom deletes her emails, spam every day to zero. She does not keep those emails. I'm like, so I started doing that too. If it's in spam, I go and I say select all and hit it to zero. So when people come back and be like, check your spam, I'm like, that's gone. You have to resend that to me because I don't even have that anymore. So mastering those emails, I think, makes a huge difference. Anybody else in the studio audience, how do you deal with your emails? If it's something I need to focus on, I'll actually forward it to myself and I'll put to do in the subject. I'll just add that to whatever the subject is. So then that way I know I still need to address that particular email if I didn't address it right then. And keep in mind, you may not address it right then because we talked about that. Not everything is going to be able to be addressed because it's not urgent or important at that moment in your particular day. But it is something that needs to be addressed, and it might even have a deadline to it. If it has a deadline to it, you want to go ahead and put that into your calendar system. So whatever calendar system you use, incorporate that into your calendar system. Anybody resonating on what I'm saying here today so far, as far as balancing your time? Master your emails. Put them in some kind of category. Put it in something that has to be done. Either it's a to-do, either it can be deleted. It may need to be responded to right away. So go ahead and respond to it. Or it may need to just be something that you say, I don't even need this advertisement. So delete it, even if it's in your inbox, even if it's not in spam. Okay. And let's see what I also put in here. I put a lot of things in folders as well. So if you can create folders on the side and say create new folder, and then you can drag the email over to that folder so that it's not just sitting in your inbox. That way you can access it no matter where you are in the country. You can access that folder at any time as well. Okay, but take some type of action regarding that. All right, let's go to the next. Any comments, thoughts, questions? Okay, let's go to the next point, which is manage unnecessary interruptions. There are all kinds of things that can happen in a given day. I know do not disturb. You can put that on. You can silence your notifications, and not because you're trying to be like, oh, I'm not dealing with people per se, but what you're doing is you're officially just saying that for this block of time, I need uninterrupted space or time. And what I always do is I put my emergency contacts that they can break through regardless, because I will not be in a situation where I'm not available for a situation that I need the emergency contact to be able to reach me. So hopefully that helps you too. You can set your phone up where whoever your emergencies are, your emergency contacts, they still get the opportunity to access you no matter what you do with your phone system, and as far as notifications are concerned, or silencing. But there are other schools of thought that my sons have taught me, and they've helped me a lot in this regard. So they teach me and Jayla, because we're the two girls in the house, right? And one thing that Frankie shared is a Pomodoro. I think it's Pomodoro. I forget the name. But anyway, it's a theory that for 25 minutes or something, you actually work uninterrupted. And then you get what you need to really get accomplished during that moment. And then you give yourself a break. I want to look up what the theory is. Hold on. Yeah, Pomodoro. I think that's what it's called. Yeah, it's Pomodoro. Yeah. Okay. So it's like it's actually a way for you to break up your time management method. It's based on a 25-minute stretches of focused work broken up by 5-minute breaks. So you can take longer breaks as well. For example, they said typically 15 to 30 minutes are taken after 4 consecutive work intervals. So if you take like 25 minutes, this isn't my theory. This is something one of my children trained me on, the Pomodoro technique. Focus for 25 minutes, get your assignment done as much as you can get done towards that. Then take a break. That's when you do all your other stuff. Answer your phone, do whatever you need to do. But this one, I thought that was really good tip and advice for me anyway. It helped me quite a bit. So hopefully it'll help you. But manage those unnecessary interruptions. And then when you are doing a project, I think it's important, and this is something that I implemented with, and that's why I taught it when I was doing the balance tips, is having the necessary tools on hand when you are ready to do a project. So go to the store, get your shovel, get your tools, get your tape, get your glue, whatever it is that you need to have for a specific project. Go ahead and get all of those tools, have them on hand. So then when it's time for you to execute on the project, you don't have to start running around during the block of time that you have set aside to do the work. You can actually just start executing. That makes a huge difference. If you can start implementing and executing what you have envisioned on whatever project you're working on, whether it's something that you're adding to your house, or something that you're fixing in your bathroom, or something that you're fixing in the ceiling, whatever the project is, if you can go ahead and have all the tools on hand that you need, you will be able to execute flawlessly when it's time to manage your time. All right. All right. We're going to take another quick commercial break. Come right back, and we're going to share the final points on how to balance your time. We'll be right back, everyone, right after
Who
this
are
break.
those people? You know, the guys playing golf in the middle of the day on a Tuesday. The woman wearing $1,000 shoes at a cafe in the city. The kid in the ripped jeans driving a $200,000 sports car. What do they know that you don't? One word: leverage. Working smarter, not harder. Owning their own business, not being owned by a job. The good news? We have it. Interested?
All right, everyone, we are back, and we are going to play the second part of that same commercial. There's a part 2 to it, and then we're going to come right back. All right, we'll be right back.
Two things are almost certain about you. Number one, you know people who travel. Of course you do. Everybody travels. It's an $8 trillion industry. It's what people dream about doing. And number two, you probably aren't making the commission. You see, every car rental, every hotel, and every resort pays commissions. They may go to a website or to a traditional travel agent. But trust us, someone is earning it. Well, what if we could show you a way to put that commission in your pocket? It doesn't hurt to take a peek. Interested?
All right, everyone, we're back, and we're talking about how to balance your time. And the tips that I'm sharing with you today are from the book Extreme Balance Makeover. You can get a copy of it, an autographed copy, just right by Kimjacobshow.com, and I'll be happy to sign it and send it to you, and look forward to you receiving these tips. Listen, you can also get it on Amazon and Barnes and Noble and all of the places that sell pretty much these books. Extreme Balance Makeover. The thing I also want you all to know is that you don't have to wait until free time frees up and everything in order to balance your time. You can take things into bite-sized pieces and accomplish your goal, because if you start somewhere and say, okay, I'm going to just focus, I can only focus 30 minutes on this particular project today. Go ahead and do that so that you're not waiting for the perfect time for everything to happen. And that's going to be important for you to start seeing some of your results in what you're looking to accomplish. At least that works for me anyway. And then working within your biological clock, the time that works best for when you're at your highest peak of energy, your highest state of being. It's like, look, I can do this doing noon and 3. Because after that, I got to take a nap. I'm tired, or I have to pick my child up, or I have to go run errands. I have to run to the grocery store. I have to go start taking everybody to their after school activities. Then it might not be the best time at that time for you to get your goals and your things accomplished. And then just keeping in mind that we all have the same 24 hours in a day. So how we use our time, it really determines the outcome of what is going to happen for that day, and even just for future things that's going to happen. If we can't get anything accomplished because we're just all over the place, then it really limits how much you can think is going to be a good outcome for our lives. So keep that in mind, that what one person has is 24 hours and what they get done. Don't worry about trying to compare yourself to them, because we all have a different journey. We all have different expectations and requirements of our lives. So what God expects from me may be very different than what he's expecting for somebody else. That's their journey. So no two journeys are alike. Don't compare yourself to anybody else. Just do what God has purposed you to do on this earth. And make sure God is a part of that, is leading that, okay? That he's leading that charge, not just that he's mixed into it all. All right. And I'm actually right now writing, I've written another book, and literally have had it in production, I guess, for almost 2 years. So at this point, this book will come out. And so I wanted to put that on here publicly to let you know that the book will happen. And I'm going to not let too much time go by and grass grow under my feet before it happens. If you'd like to be a part of continuing showing your ongoing support for the Kim Jacobs Show, make sure you know that you can send a Cash App to Kimjacobsinc. You can also go to paypal.me/Kimjacobsinc. And you can even join our Patreon membership, where I put exclusive content that nobody else sees at patreon.com/the Kim Jacobs Show. So those are some of the ways you can support. And guess what? People send funds all the time to PBS and CBN, TBN, all of these different broadcasts. And it's only from community supporters. So feel free to support and donate to the Kim Jacobs Show. I want to say a shout out to some people as well. And let me make sure, because I don't want to forget to recognize. I see Carrie Ann. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I see Wayne. I see Allison. I see Frank, Daron, my mom. Thank you so much. And Sean and Dr. Joe D, Ken, all of you all that contribute to the Kim Jacobs Show. I really appreciate it. And it's lots of others too that have contributed over the time, but these are just some of the more recent shout outs. And I want to say thank you. Thank you. All right, everybody. Thank you all so much. Did any other things that I need to address? That today we talked about, when is the release date of the book? Thank you so much for asking that question. I will say that I'm going to be unplugging and unwinding and taking some sincere time to finish it and get it from paper to the computer. That's what I need to do next. And then from there, it'll be very soon there released. And it's my whole philosophy on balancing my time the way that I know God wants it to happen. Okay. All right. I am so honored that I had this time with you today. And I will see you again tomorrow. We have another fantastic guest that's going to be coming on, sharing their, I'm not going to timestamp this because I may be playing this episode again, but I just want to say thank you for tuning into today's episode. I love you and I appreciate you being in the virtual studio audience. And I'll see you again at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on The Kim Jacobs Show. Have a great one. Bye-bye. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of The Kim Jacobs Show and for being in the virtual studio audience. Your presence truly does make a difference, and I look forward to you bringing your friends and family to join you in the virtual studio audience Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I look forward to seeing you.